Hi, I'm Barrister Esther, your trusted travel voice legal insider at Travul.org. And I'm right here to give you legal tips on how you can travel smart, travel safe, and travel far. So let's get started with today's legal guide. We want to look at sanctions that are provided for violating visa conditions. So we've talked about travel visa, when you're on a travel visa, what you can do and what you cannot do. When you're on a visitor visa, what you can do and what you cannot do. What you're permitted to do and not do when you are on a standard visitor visa, which is only to the United Kingdom. We've established that. Now let's look at what are the sanctions for carrying out unpermitted activities while on a tourist visa, visitor visa, standard visitor visa. Now, one of the sanctions or one of the major or common penalties for violating visa conditions include fines, which can vary from one country to another. Deportation, you can be at a risk of being deported from that country on that visa back to the country where you came from. You can also be liable to entry ban or re-entry ban. Now let me take you one after the other. Let's start with the fines, deportations, the entry or re-entry ban. When you overstay on your visas, now whether tourist visa, which is 3 months, visitor visa, which is 6 months, standard visitor visa, which is 6 months. Now, when you overstay for more than 3 months for tourist visa, more than 6 months for visitor visa, for more than 6 months for standard visitor visa, you are liable to a fine. And like I said earlier, it varies from one country to another. So the federal government in Nigeria announced as at April this year that by August 1st, 2025, they will start fining any expatriate to Nigeria who overstays his or her visa. So for instance, your visa duration is 6 months and you overstay 6 months, $15 henceforth from August 1st, 2025. So it's better we learn that. So imagine the penalties for other countries, the amount that you'll be fined if you overstay your visa conditions in other countries. So I'm just using Nigeria as an example so you understand the gravity of flouting some of these rules and regulations attached to the visa conditions you're going on or with to other countries. Now that's for overstaying your visa period. Another thing for overstaying your visa period is ban, entry ban or re-entry ban. You can be banned from going back to that country for either a short period of time, temporarily, or permanently. You can be banned from returning to that country temporarily or permanently or to other countries. So that ban can work with that country where you flouted the rules and even other countries. And unfortunately, if you try to go, but let's imagine that the ban has been lifted and then you want to go to that same country or any other country, you will be subjected to stricter scrutiny where your document, your travel document, your visa, you yourself will be subjected to stricter scrutiny. So it's important. Also, if you overstay your visa period, you as a person, your visa can be cancelled no matter the country you're going to. And when it is cancelled, it means that you will definitely not be able to go to that country. So it's important that you pay attention to that. That's for overstaying your visa duration. Let's now come to working when you're not supposed to work. Remember we said on a tourist visa, visitor visa, standard visitor visa, you cannot work to earn income. You cannot be employed. You can't even carry out businesses. You can only go for business meetings. You can only negotiate contracts. You can do other things. If I go for trade fairs, but you cannot sell. You cannot provide goods and services. Now, if you now flout that rule of not working on these visa conditions, you can be deported. And when you are deported, it means that your re-entry to that country or other countries, the opportunity to go back or to travel will be very limited. It will be restricted. So we don't want that, or you don't want that. Another thing is, you can be arrested. You can be detained. You can be imprisoned, especially if you commit a crime in another country. And you're on a tourist visa, you're on a visitor visa, you're on a standard visitor visa, or any other visa conditions or visa categories. You now commit a crime in another country. You can be detained, you can be arrested, you can be imprisoned, you can be deported. So these are the major penalties for flouting or carrying out unpermitted activities on your visa categories or with the visa conditions that you have. So it's important that you know the visa categories, the rules and regulations attached to these visa categories, and it is important that you don't flout these rules. No, Deo. Ignorance of the law excuses no one. Please pay attention to that. So let me now add this very quickly. For United Kingdom, if you overstay your visa duration for the United Kingdom, you can be banned for 10 years in the United Kingdom if you're on a standard visitor visa to the United Kingdom. In Nigeria, if you stay for 6 months, like overstay your visa period for 6 months, you'll be liable to 5 years ban. If you now stay for 1 year, 10 years ban. In the United Kingdom, if you overstay, they don't even want to know whether for 6 months or a year, 10 years ban to re-enter the United Kingdom. And for some countries, what they do is they will start accumulating. So for fines now, which I mentioned earlier, if you overstay for a day, the fine starts counting from that day. And for as long as you overstay, apart from the other penalties, which I've mentioned, re-entry ban and all, that fine, you will have to pay it when you're about to leave that country. So for $15 for Nigeria, starting from August 1st, 2025, you now overstay 1 day, that $15 start to count for the number or the period you stay or you overstay in Nigeria or any other country. So in the United Kingdom, I mentioned 10 years ban when you overstay. In countries under the European Union, except Ireland, 1 year ban when you overstay for more than 3 days or up to 90 days. 1 year ban for more than 3 days or up to 90 days. When it comes to Schengen areas, we'll look deeply into that on another episode of our legal education when it comes to travel, okay? But for now, just know this. In or countries in the Schengen area, if you overstay, you can be banned for 3 years or more. And it varies from one country to another country in the Schengen area. There are different countries in the Schengen area. We'll definitely look at that on another episode, like I mentioned earlier. So please note, these are the major penalties for overstaying, or you carry out unpermitted activities or illegal activities, or you commit a crime while on any of these visa conditions. I mentioned earlier, ignorance of the law excuses no one. So now you know. Follow for more updates. I am Barrister Esther.